one thing that for myself has been really challenging this week is just the uncertainty of everything. I think all humans do, I like to know what the timeline is for things, what the outcome is as best as possible. And so just this overall unknown for me has been incredibly challenging. And I have been rereading Pema Chodron's book, When Things Fall Apart, which is filled with just little golden nuggets of wisdom. And I want to share just a short little passage with you that I've personally been really returning to quite a bit. She writes, "Things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think that the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem. But the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart, and they come together again and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, room for relief, room for misery, room for joy. Letting there be room for not knowing is the most important thing of all." I invite you in your practice to really let there be room for all of it, right? Especially when we are in the comfort of our own home and not in a studio surrounded by other people. There's a little more freedom to let ourselves have all of our emotions, to let the practice maybe be a little messier, a little more playful, a little more joyful than maybe it would be if we were surrounded by others. That layer of self-consciousness can be stripped away. So really allowing yourself to create the space for all of it within your practice, and creating space for all of it with as little judgment as possible. Bringing the hands into prayer at the heart center. Lightly lift your heart up toward your thumbs. Opening our practice with 3 ohms together. Breathing in the vibrations of Om, and letting everything else go. Start to float the eyes open, coming onto your hands and knees, stacking the shoulders right over your wrists, hips directly over the knees. Just beginning to move through some cat and cow. As you inhale, tuck the toes under, lift the gaze, tip the tailbone up. Exhaling for cat, untuck the toes, rounding chin to chest, navel to spine. Inhaling for cow as you tuck the toes under, really drive the sit bones up, open across the collarbones. Exhaling for cat, untucking the toes, pressing into the tops of the feet, drawing navel to spine. Inhaling for cow, hammock the belly down as you lift the gaze. Exhaling for cat, rounding deeply, chin to chest, navel to spine. One more round, inhaling for cow. And exhaling for cat. Keep rounding, press all the way back to child's pose. Hips to the heels, let the big toes touch, knees are just as wide as they need to be.
And if it feels nice to sway the hips a little bit or circle the forehead on the mat, you're welcome to find some movement. And everybody, bring your palms together in prayer. Bend your elbows. And then draw your thumbs toward the back of your head, or maybe find the back of the neck or the upper back. And then start to walk those elbows a little bit farther away from you and a little bit closer to one another if you can. Keep anchoring the sit bones back and down. Keep lengthening the inhales and exhales. Taking one more breath here. Maybe you inch those elbows a little bit farther away from the torso. And then release the hands, press the palms into the mat. Start to lift the hips, tuck the toes under, coming into your first downward dog. Just start to pedal through the feet here, sending one heel closer to the ground and then the other. Might feel nice to shake the head out a little bit or sway the hips. Just see what feels good in your body right now. And gradually, as you begin to drop into stillness, see if you can shift a little more weight into the legs. Really pull up through the front of the thighs, reaching the sit bones up and back as the heels drop just as close to the mat as you can get them. Everybody take a deep breath in all together. And let the breath go all together. Beginning to move with the breath as you inhale, come forward to plank pose, top of the push-up. Lower the knees, press the hips to the heels, stretching through the back, stretching through the toes and the arms. Extend out to plank pose, strong and steady. Slowly lower straight down to the mat, one solid piece. Baby cobra, press into the tops of the feet as you lift the heart and the gaze. Downward dog as you exhale, pressing the thighs toward the tops. Pressing the thighs back, pressing the chest toward the tops of the thighs. Inhaling forward to plank, gaze past the top edge of your mat. Lower the knees, hips to the heels as if you were going into child's pose. Extend out to plank pose, heels lengthen back, crown of the head reaches forward. Slowly lower straight down to the mat, elbows point back. Baby cobra, scoop the heart forward and up, keep hugging the elbows in. Downward dog as you exhale, relax through the jaw, anchor into the thumbs and forefingers one more time, just like that. Inhaling forward to plank. Lower the knees, hips to the heels. Try to keep even those pinky toes tucked under here, stretching through the feet. Extending out to plank pose, strong and steady. Lowering straight down to the mat, shoulders and hips meet the ground together. Baby cobra, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Downward dog as you exhale, feeling those sit bones reach up and back as the heels drop down. Inhale your right leg up toward the ceiling, three-legged dog. Open the hip, bend the knee. Lengthen the leg long, square the hips off. Knee to the nose, get the shoulders right over your wrists. Three-legged dog, reach that right leg long behind you. Step the right foot between your thumbs. Physically scoop it up, take a second step if it didn't quite make it. Deep breath in here, get a little bit longer through the spine. Left foot meets the right at the top of the mat, folding over the legs in Uttanasana. Sweep the arms out and up, high prayer as you reach up, look up. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up, catching the left wrist with your right hand, reach up and over to the right side. Come back up through center, switch, catch the right wrist, reach up and over to the left. Try to keep both shoulders and hips square to the front of your mat. Come back up through center, reach up, look up, high prayer. Draw your prayer through the midline, folding forward over the legs. Inhaling to your flat back, extending long through the spine. Stepping the left foot back to your low lunge. Lower that left knee down, untuck the toes, sweep the arms up to frame your face, Anjaneyasana. And then you're gonna bend that left elbow up toward the ceiling. Use the right hand to just ease that elbow open. Keep shifting the hips forward and down. Keep lifting up out of the waist. See if you can fall back into that left elbow just a little bit more. And then reach the arms up, look up. Lower the hands down to the mat, tuck those left toes under, lift the left knee and thigh, step back to your downward dog. Inhaling forward to plank. Lower the knees, chest, and chin this time. Baby cobra, press into the tops of the feet as you lift the heart up. Downward dog as you exhale. Feel the backs of your thighs press toward the back edge of your mat. Inhaling the left leg up, three-legged dog. Open the hip, bend the knee. Lengthen the leg long, square those hips off. Knee to the nose, shoulders right over the wrists. Three-legged dog. Step that left foot between the thumbs. Take a deep breath in here. The left knee is directly over the left ankle. Step the right foot up to meet the left, releasing over the legs in Uttanasana. Sweeping the arms out and up, high prayer, grounding down evenly on both feet. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Catch your right wrist first this time, reaching up and over to the left side. Maybe you start to deepen the stretch just a little bit more. Come back up through center, switch, catch your left wrist. Reach up and over to the right, anchoring into the outer edge of your left foot. Come back up through center, reach up, look up, high prayer. Draw your prayer through the midline, folding forward over the legs. Inhaling to your flat back, try to get your chest parallel to the ground. Stepping your right foot back to your low lunge. Lower that right knee down, untuck the toes, sweep the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Bending the right elbow up toward the ceiling, use that left hand to ease the elbow open. Really lifting up out of the waist while the hips continue to shift forward and down. Maybe check in here. The rib cage likes to splay open with this arm variation. Can you start to knit those front ribs together a little bit more? Stay connected to your core. And then reach the arms up, look up. Lower the hands down to the mat, tuck the right toes under, lift that right knee and thigh, stepping back to your downward dog, gazing between your big toes, inhaling forward to plank, lower the knees, the chest and the chin, baby cobra, lift the heart, lift the gaze, downward dog as you exhale. Drop back into your breath. Remembering to allow there to be space for all of your emotions, all of your experiences within your practice. Remembering that it is all okay, right? It's not good or bad or right or wrong. And slowly start to walk your feet up to the top edge of the mat. There's absolutely no rush to arrive. When you're at the very top of the mat, soften the knees a little bit. Let the weight rock forward in the feet. Think more of resting the abdomen on the thighs than anything else. And then grab opposite elbows. And it might feel nice to just let the weight of the head and the elbows drop down. You might want to sway the torso side to side like an elephant trunk. Or maybe shake the head out a little bit. Just see what feels good for you. And then switch which elbows on top so you're holding the non-habitual way. And again, maybe you want to sway a little bit, maybe you want to shake the head out. Maybe stillness is exactly what you're needing and you just give that stillness to yourself here. Releasing the elbows, keep the knees bent and the head heavy. Slowly start to roll up one vertebra at a time. Your head is the very last thing to arrive. When you have arrived, no rush, you'll shrug the shoulders up and back a few times. Just let yourself find stillness, standing tall in Tadasana, mountain pose.
allowing yourself to have moments where you feel really grounded and steady within your practice. Beginning to move with the breath a little bit more as you inhale, reach up, look up, high prayer. Exhale, draw your prayer through the midline, folding forward over the legs. Inhaling to your flat back, stepping the right foot back to your low lunge. Take a deep breath in here, get a little bit longer through the spine if you can. Downward dog as you exhale, keep the length in the spine. Inhaling forward to plank. Slowly lower straight down to the mat, one solid piece. Baby cobra, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Lower the forehead down to the mat, tuck the toes under, press up to plank. Downward dog as you exhale. Inhaling the left leg up, three-legged dog. Open the hip, bend the knee. Lengthen the leg long, square the hips, knee to the nose, shoulders right over the wrists. Three-legged dog. Step that foot between your thumbs. Take a deep breath in here. Right foot meets the left as you exhale. Sweep the arms out and up, high prayer. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Inhale, reach up, look up, high prayer. Exhale, draw your prayer through the midline, folding forward over the legs. Inhaling to your flat back, stepping the left foot back to your low lunge. Take a deep breath in here. Downward dog as you exhale, relax through the jaw and the toes. Inhaling forward to plank. Slowly lower straight down to the mat, one solid piece. Baby cobra, baby Bhujangasana. Lower the forehead down to the mat, tuck the toes under, press back up to plank, whatever happened, happened. Downward dog as you exhale. Inhaling the right leg up, three-legged dog. Open the hip, bend the knee. Lengthen the leg long, square the hips, knee to the nose, shoulders right over the wrists. Three-legged dog. Step that right foot between your thumbs. Deep breath in, reach the left heel back and the crown of the head forward. Left foot meets the right at the top of the mat, folding over the legs. Sweeping the arms out and up, high prayer. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Inhale, reach your prayer straight up toward the ceiling. As you exhale, bend the elbows to the ceiling, bringing your thumbs to your upper back, just like we did when we were in child's pose early on. Inhale, reach your prayer back up, look up. Exhale, draw your prayer through the midline, folding forward over the legs. Inhaling to your flat back. Right foot steps back to your low lunge. Left foot meets it in plank pose, top of the push-up. Slowly lowering straight down to the mat. Baby cobra, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Lower the forehead down to the mat, tuck the toes under. Press back up to plank. Downward dog as you exhale. Inhaling the left leg up, three-legged dog. Open the hip, bend the knee. Lengthen the leg long, square those hips, knee to the nose. Three-legged dog. Step the foot between your thumbs. Deep breath in here. Exhale, the right foot meets the left as you exhale. Sweep the arms out and up, high prayer, reach up, look up. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Inhale, reach your prayer straight up to the ceiling. Exhale, bend the elbows, thumbs find the back of your heart center. Inhale, reach your prayer up toward the ceiling. Exhale, draw your prayer through the midline, folding forward over the legs. Inhale to your flat back, tailbone lengthens back, crown of the head reaches forward. Step that left foot back to your low lunge. Right foot meets it in plank pose. Slowly lowering all the way down to the mat. Both shoulders and hips meet the ground together. Baby cobra, lift the heart and the gaze. Lower the forehead down to the mat. Tuck the toes under. Press up to plank. Downward dog as you exhale. Inhale the right leg up, three-legged dog. Open the hip, bend the knee. Lengthen the leg long, square those hips, knee to the nose. Three-legged dog. Step the foot between your thumbs. Deep breath in, get longer through the spine.
Left foot meets the right as you exhale, releasing over the legs. Sweep the arms out and up, high prayer. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Pause here for a breath. Sitting into chair pose, keep the hands in prayer at the heart center. Lift the heart up toward your thumbs. Just like we did when we were in Uttanasana, reach your prayer straight up to the ceiling. Bend those elbows toward the ceiling, bring the thumbs toward the upper back. Reach your prayer back up. Draw your prayer through the midline, fold forward over the legs, crown of the head drops heavy toward the mat, sit bones lightly tip up toward the ceiling. Inhaling to your flat back, step the right foot back to your low lunge. Left foot meets it in plank pose, top of a push-up. Pause here, find your breath here. Mindful of how you are approaching this moment, this pose. One more breath in. Slowly lower all the way down to the mat, one solid piece. Baby cobra, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Lower the forehead down to the mat. Press yourself back to child's pose, hips to the heels. And then slide the fingertips back by your toes. Roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Maybe lift the hips up off the heels, maybe not. You can keep the hips grounded. Slide out to plank pose, strong and steady. Lower the knees, sit back onto the heels, slide the fingertips back, lift the heart, lift the gaze, maybe lift those hips. You lifted the hips, lower them back down, slide out to plank, strong and steady. One last time, lower those knees, sit back onto the heels, slide the fingertips back, really opening across the front of the body again. Maybe you start to lift up off the heels and slide out to plank, strong and steady here. Lower halfway down, chaturanga. Upward dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, thighs and knees hover off the mat. Downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, feeling the backs of the thighs pressed toward the back of the mat, pulling up through the front of your thighs, engaging the low abdominal muscles. Deep breath in. And let all the breath go. Inhaling the right leg up, three-legged dog. Step the foot between your thumbs. Rise up to your high lunge. You're gonna bend that left elbow up toward the ceiling. Use the right hand to ease that elbow open. So just like we did at the very start, really lifting up out of the waist. One more breath here, deep, deep inhale. Open to warrior two as you exhale, anchor down through that back heel. Three flying warriors. Inhale, straighten the right leg, reach up, look up. Exhale, back to warrior two, look over the front fingers. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, back to warrior two. Flip your front palm, peaceful warrior. Reach all the way up and back. Cartwheel your hands into a low lunge twist. Left hand presses down, right arm reaches up toward the ceiling. Reach that right arm overhead. Circle the hand down, walking your hands to the left as you straighten your right leg. Coming into a wide straddle, Prasarita Padottanasana. Toes are turning in just a touch more than the heels here. Feeling the sit bones tip up toward the ceiling, crown of the head drops down toward the mat. Circle the hands behind your back, interlace the fingers, reach your knuckles up toward the ceiling as the crown of the head drops down toward the mat. And release the hands, fingertips back down to the ground. Inhale, reach the arms out and up, high prayer. As you exhale, turn the heels in and the toes out. Cactus those arms, finding your squat. Pivot to face the front of the mat in your high lunge. Lift the heart, lift the gaze. Lower the hands down to the mat. Step to plank pose. And you can lower chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Baby cobra or come into your upward dog. And we're all meeting back in downward dog. Keep in mind, you can always skip the vinyasas if you need to as well, yes? Inhale, reaching that left leg up, three-legged dog. Step the foot between the thumbs. Rise up to your high lunge, bending the right elbow up toward the ceiling. Use that left hand to ease the elbow open. Try to lift the chin away from the chest. Try to keep the front ribs knitting together. How's the breath here? How are the thoughts? One more breath in. Open to warrior two as you exhale. 3 flying warriors. Inhale, straighten the left leg, reach up, look up. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, warrior two. Last time, inhale, really feel the inner thighs hug in toward the midline. Back to warrior two. Flip your left palm, reach up and back, peaceful warrior. Cartwheel the hands into your low lunge twist, reaching that left arm up. Reach the left arm overhead, circle the hand down. Start to walk your hands to the right as you straighten that left leg, finding your wide straddle, Prasarita Padottanasana. Toes are turning in just a touch more than the heels. Let the weight rock forward in the feet. Circle the hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers the non-habitual way. Other thumb on top, other pinky on bottom. Reaching your knuckles toward the ceiling as the crown of the head drops down toward the mat. Pressing into the outer edges of your feet, engaging the inseams of the legs. Release the hands, fingertips come back toward the mat. Inhale, reach up, high prayer. Exhale, turn the heels in and the toes out. Find that squat. And then pivot to face the front of the mat in your high lunge. Lower the hands down to the mat. Step to plank pose. Vinyasa of your choice, or you can simply press back to your downward dog, whatever you are needing in this moment. Taking a slow, deep breath in. Let all the breath go. Lift up high onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees, gaze forward. Either walk or hop to the top of your mat. Flat back when you've arrived. And release over the legs. Just let everything go for a moment. Sweep the arms out and up, high prayer. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Deep, deep breath in. Let all the breath go. Keep those hands in prayer at the heart center. Sit the hips back and down into chair pose. Lift your heart up toward your thumbs. Twist to the right first. Hook your left elbow outside of that left thigh. Lift the heart up toward the thumbs. Feel that left hip and knee draw back. Come back through center. Twisting to the left. Hook the right elbow outside of the left knee. Lift the heart toward the thumbs. Try to get that left elbow to point straight up toward the ceiling. Come back through center. Reach your prayer up. Bend the elbows. Bring your thumbs toward your upper back. Reach your prayer back up toward the ceiling. Draw your prayer through the midline. Fold forward over the legs. You're going to tent up your right fingertips in front of both big toes. Bend your right knee, straighten your left leg as much as you can, and then reach that right arm up toward the ceiling. Maybe even look up toward that left thumb. Bring the left hand down. Tent up your left fingertips in front of your toes. Bend your left knee. Right leg is as straight as you can get it. And then reach that right arm up toward the ceiling, spiraling the chest and shoulders open to the right, maybe even looking up toward your right thumb. And bring that right hand down, release over the legs. Inhaling to your flat back, tailbone lengthens back as the crown of the head reaches forward, stepping your left foot back to your low lunge. Right foot meets it in plank pose. Pause here. Breathe here. Right, don't lose the breath. Be mindful of how you're approaching each moment. Try to let go of outcome. One more breath in. Slowly, slowly lower all the way down to the mat. One solid piece. Baby cobra, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Press back to child's pose, hips to the heels. Slide the fingertips back by the toes. Once again, roll the shoulders open, lift the heart, maybe start to lift the hips. If you lifted the hips, drop those hips, slide out to plank pose, strong and steady. Can you let there be some playfulness here? Lower the knees, sit back onto the heels, slide the fingertips back, open through the front body, maybe lift those hips for a little modified camel. Lower the hips if you lifted them, slide out to plank pose. One last time, lower the knees, sit back on the heels, slide the fingertips back, roll the shoulders open, lifting the heart, opening the whole front body toward the ceiling. And shoot out to plank pose, strong and steady. Vinyasa if you want it, lowering chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Maybe you've just come back to your downward dog. That's where we are all meeting. Take a deep breath in all together. And let the breath go all together. Inhale the right leg up, three-legged dog. Step that right foot between your thumbs. Rise up to your high lunge. Once again, bending that left elbow. Use the right hand to ease that elbow open. And then reach the right arm out to the side. Spiral the palm back. And you're gonna wrap that arm behind you. Maybe the fingertips find one another, maybe they don't. Let go of the need to achieve or accomplish anything and simply be present with what is. Take one more breath in here. Open to warrior two, release the arms. Flip your front palm, peaceful warrior, reaching all the way up and back. Straighten your right leg, reaching forward for triangle, Trikonasana. Right hand finds the right shin or ankle. That left arm is reaching straight up toward the ceiling. You want to imagine that there's a wall behind your entire back body, and then think of pressing your whole back body evenly into that wall as best you can. Reach that left arm overhead to frame your face. Press into the outer edge of your left foot a little bit more. Lift your right arm to frame your face. Rise on up to stand, warrior two. Bend your right knee over the right ankle. Flip your right palm, reach all the way up and back. Cartwheel your hands into that low lunge twist. Left hand reaches down, right arm reaches up. Reach that right arm overhead, circle the hand down, walking your hands to the left as you straighten the right leg, finding your wide straddle, Prasarita Padottanasana. Take a deep breath in here. As you exhale, just let everything go. Inhale, reach the arms out and up, high prayer. Turn the heels in and the toes out, cactus those arms. Check that the knees are over the ankles and middle toes. Be mindful that you're not sticking your seat out behind you. Really engage through those low abdominal muscles. How's the breath? Can you sit a little bit lower? Can you feel the strength in the upper body here? It's not just about the legs. One more breath here. Don't zone out. Don't check out on me. Pivot to face the front of your mat in your high lunge. Inhale, straighten that right leg. Exhale, rebend the knee. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bend. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bend. Draw that left knee up toward your chest. And then steer the knee open for tree pose. So either help the foot to the inner thigh or bring it down to the calf, or even kickstand the toes if the balance is all over the place today, because that is okay and that happens, yes? Wherever the foot is okay. Press that right leg into the left foot. Try to lift up out of the waist. Bring the hands into prayer above your head. See if you can bend the elbows toward the ceiling, bringing the thumbs to the upper back. Inhale, reach the prayer to the ceiling, maybe look toward your thumbs, yes. And then bring your prayer to heart center. It's all right if you lose your balance, I did. Steer that left knee forward, step back to your high lunge, reach the arms up, lift the heart and the gaze. Lower the hands down to the mat, step to plank. Vinyasa of your choice, or simply press back to your downward dog, whatever you are needing in this moment. Listen to your own breath and your own body. Inhaling the left leg up, three-legged dog. Step the foot between your thumbs. Rise on up to that high lunge. Bend your right elbow to the ceiling. Use the left hand to ease that elbow open. And then reach the left arm out to the side. Spiral the palm back. Wrap that left arm behind you. And again, maybe those fingertips find one another. Maybe not. Wherever you are in this arm variation is enough. Whatever has happened is okay. One more breath in. Open to warrior two, release the arms. Flip your left palm, peaceful warrior, reaching all the way up and back. Straighten that left leg, reaching forward for triangle, Trikonasana. As you come into triangle, be mindful that the left side of your torso doesn't start to drop forward of that left thigh. Try to wrap the left side of your rib cage to the ceiling, maybe even start to look toward the right thumb, reaching toward the ceiling. Anchor into your right foot a little bit more as you reach that right arm overhead, one long line of energy through that right side. Lift your left arm to frame your face. Rise on up, warrior two. Rebend your left knee over the left ankle. Flip your left palm, reach all the way up and back, peaceful warrior. Cartwheel your hands into that low lunge twist. Keep hugging the left knee in toward your midline. Reach the left arm overhead and down to the mat. Start to walk your hands to the right as you straighten that left leg, finding your wide straddle, Prasarita Padottanasana. Feeling the sit bones lightly tip up toward the ceiling as the crown of the head heavily drops down toward the mat. Inhale, reach the arms out and up, high prayer. Turn those heels in, turn the toes out, sit the hips down, cactus the arms. Try to keep the elbows in the same line as the shoulders, right? So you're not drooping the arms here. You're strong through the upper back. Can you sit a little bit lower without sticking your seat out behind you? Feel the tailbone drop down as the crown of the head lifts. One more breath here. Pivot to face the front of your mat in your high lunge. Spin to the ball of your right foot. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, rebend the knee. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bend. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, rebend the knee. Draw the low abdominal muscles in as you draw that right knee up toward your chest. And then steer the right knee open for tree pose. Again, help it to the inner thigh or simply drop it to the calf or the ankle. Actively press the leg into the foot, so don't just sink into that standing leg, really lift up out of the waist. Whatever's happening with balance is okay. Can you be with the uncertainty of it all? Bring the hands together in prayer. Bend those elbows to the ceiling, bringing your thumbs toward the upper back. Reach your prayer back up toward the ceiling. Can you look up toward the ceiling? And then draw your prayer through the midline. Step back to your high lunge. Lowering the hands down to the mat. Step back to your downward dog. If you want a vinyasa, you can flow through your vinyasa here. If you want to simply breathe in your downward dog, stay in your down dog. Come back to the breath. Over and over again, coming back to the breath. Checking in with yourself here.
Just acknowledging where you are physically, mentally, and emotionally. Not judging it, allowing for all of it, right? It's all okay. It's all part of life. One more breath here. Can you breathe in a little more fully? As you exhale, what can you let go of? Where can you physically start to soften? Inhale, lift up high onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees, gaze forward, either walk or hop to the top of your mat. Flat back when you've arrived. And release over the legs. Let everything go for a moment. Sweep those arms out and up as you reach up. Look up. Exhale, prayer to the heart center. Deep breath in. Let all the breath go. Sitting into chair pose, Gomukasana right away. Find the depth of the pose for yourself in this moment. Don't hold back. Fold over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhaling to your flat back, reach longer and longer through both sides of the waist. Plant the palms. You can either hop to chaturanga or step to plank. Moving through your vinyasa, we're going to meet back in downward dog. Everyone take a slow, deep breath in together. And let the breath go together. Inhale the right leg up, three-legged dog. Step that foot between your thumbs. Rise on up to your high lunge. You're gonna bend that left elbow up toward the ceiling. Reach the right arm out to the side. Spiral the palm back and then wrap that arm behind you. Find your arm variation. Keep your arm variation. Take a deep breath in. With the arms, warrior two. So that left elbow is still reaching up toward the ceiling, yes? Keep the arms, straighten the right leg. Start to shift the hips back as you come into triangle with this arm variation. So the challenge is not to let that top shoulder and elbow drop down, right? You're not going to go quite as far as you do with the arms extended, which is okay. The ego doesn't like it, but it truly is okay, yes? Can you anchor into the left foot a little bit more as you wrap that left elbow and shoulder up toward the ceiling a little bit more, yes? Peaceful warrior, release the arms, reach all the way up and back. It should feel nice to release the arms here. Cartwheel the hands into your low lunge twist. Right arm reaches up, maybe look up toward that right thumb. Reach the right arm overhead, circle the hand down, walking the hands to the left as you straighten that right leg, finding your wide straddle, Prasarita Padottanasana. Deep breath in here. And let all the breath go. Inhale, reach the arms out and up as you reach up, look up. Turn the heels in and the toes out, cactus the arms. Sit a little bit lower if you can, and then lift that right heel. And lower. Lift the left heel. And lower. Lift both heels. And lower. Embrace whatever your experience is. Lift both heels. See if you can pause here, maybe sit a little bit lower, keep the shoulders right over the hips, keep your sense of humor, and lower the heels. Pivot to face the front of your mat, find that high lunge. Inhale, straightening the right leg. Exhale, rebend the knee, bend that left elbow up toward the ceiling. Inhale, straighten the right leg, reach the right arm out to the side. Exhale, rebend the knee, wrap that arm behind you, coming into the arm variation again. Inhale, straightening the right leg. Exhale, rebend the knee, keep the arms as you draw that left knee up toward your chest. See if you can steer the left knee open for tree pose with this leg with the arm variation. Really lift up out of both sides of the waist. How's the breath? How are the thoughts? And turn the knee forward, reach the arms up, step back to your high lunge. Lower the hands down to the mat. Step to plank pose.
And then roll to the right hand and the outer edge of the right foot, side plank, Vashisthasana. Come back to plank. Roll to the left hand and the outer edge of the left foot. Reach that right arm up toward the ceiling, side plank. Come back to plank. You decide, vinyasa or downward dog, whatever you need in this moment. Take a deep, deep breath in. And let all the breath go. Inhale that left leg up, three-legged dog. Step the foot between the thumbs, rise on up to your high lunge. Bend that right elbow up toward the ceiling, reach the left arm out to the side, spiral the palm back. Wrap that arm behind you, find your arm variation. Take a deep breath in here, lift up out of the waist, lift the chin and the gaze, keep the arms opening to warrior two. Keep the arms, just straighten that left leg. Feel the inner thighs hug in toward the midline. Shift the hips back as you start to come into triangle with this arm variation. And again, don't try to force yourself to go as low as you usually do, right? Think of keeping the chest and shoulders spiraling open as the most important piece here. Pressing into the pinky edges of both feet a little bit more. Can you get longer through that left side waist and then wrap the right shoulder open just a little bit more? And release it for peaceful warrior. Reach that left arm all the way up and back. Cartwheel the hands into your low lunge twist. Reach that left arm overhead as the right heel lengthens back. Circle the hand down. Walking your hands to the right as you straighten your left leg, finding your wide straddle, Prasarita Padottanasana. Deep, deep breath in. And let all the breath go. Inhale, reach the arms out and up, high prayer. Turning the heels in and the toes out, cactus those arms. Take a moment to find your safe alignment with the knees over the ankles and middle toes, shoulders stacked right over the hips, and then lift that left heel and lower. Lift the right heel and lower. Lift both heels. Whatever happens, happens. And lower. Can you sit the hips a little bit lower? Keep the hips there. Just lift those heels. Yes. Don't hold the breath. Don't stare at the floor. And lower those heels. Pivot to face the front of your mat in your high lunge. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, rebend the knee. Bend that right elbow. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, rebend the knee. Reach that left arm out to the side. Inhale, straighten the leg. Wrap that right arm behind you. Exhale, rebend the knee. Stay here as you breathe in. Lift the chin and the gaze. Draw that right knee up toward your chest. Steer the right knee open for tree pose, Vrikshasana. Actively press leg into foot, foot into leg. Try to let the head fall back into that right elbow. Really lift up out of the waist, pull up through the front of your standing leg, that left leg. Steer the right knee forward, reach the arms up, step back to your high lunge. Lower the hands down to the mat, step to plank pose. Rolling to the left hand, reach that right arm up, side plank. Come back to plank. Roll to the right side, reach that left arm up, maybe look up toward the left thumb. Come back to plank. You decide, vinyasa or downward dog, whatever you need in this moment. Everyone take a deep, deep breath in. And let all the breath go. Inhale forward to plank. Stay here as you exhale. Deep breath in. Slowly lower all the way down to the mat in one solid piece. Sphinx pose. You're going to bring the forearms forward so they're right under the shoulders. Forearms are parallel to one another. And then as you lift the heart, think of energetically drawing the elbows and the palms back and the heart forward. Everything from your navel through your sternum should be lifting away from the mat. This is a tremendous amount of core work, as well as a back bend and a shoulder opener. Take one more breath here. Maybe you lift a little bit higher. And release to the mat. You're going to turn the elbows out, stack your palms, bring your forehead onto your palms. Keeping your forehead on the hands, you're going to inhale and lift the arms and the upper body. So again, the hands and the head are still connected. And lower back down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift the arms, lift the head and the upper body. Keep those elbows pointing straight out to the sides. And lower back down. 1 last time. Inhale, lift on up. And lower. Bringing the hands right under the shoulders. Tuck your toes under. Press up to plank. Lower the knees. Sit back onto the heels, just like we did earlier. Tent up the fingertips behind you. Roll the shoulders open. Maybe start to lift those hips. And then lower back down to the heels if you lifted. Come on up to kneel. We're going to take Ustrasana, full camel. So tuck those toes under. You're going to bring your hands to your low back as if you were sliding your hands into your back pocket. Gently press the heels in toward your back and then down a little bit. Start to lift the heart, lift the gaze. And you might find that this is exactly where you want to be right now. You might want to try bringing one hand to the heel and then the other. Don't let yourself hinge back here, right? You want to keep pressing the chest up toward the ceiling. You want to keep the hips stacked right over those thighs. The hands are on the heels. One hand at a time comes to the low back. Come back up. Untuck the toes, sitting onto the heels. Stacking the hands, dominant hand in your non-dominant hand. Thumbs touch. Let the eyes close. Come back to the breath. Just allow yourself to be present with yourself. A lot can bubble to the surface when we do big heart openers like camel. It's also okay if nothing's coming to the surface today, right? Whatever your experience is, it is okay. Let the eyes float open. Got one more back bend, one more Ustrasana. Come on up to the shins. Tuck those toes under again. Bring the hands to the low back. You want to make sure that the thighs are right under the hips, so not too wide or too narrow. Gently press the heels of the hands forward and then down to lift the heart up. And again, you can stay here. This is plenty for many of us. Maybe you start to bring one hand at a time to those heels. Keep pressing the hips forward. The heart lifts toward the ceiling. If it feels okay to drop the head back, you can, or keep a little bit of a tuck with that chin. Everybody take one more breath here. One hand at a time comes to your low back if the hands were on the heels. Untuck the toes, sitting onto the heels. Again, stacking the dominant hand and the non-dominant hand. Thumbs touch. Eyes close. Just allow yourself to be present. Try not to fidget. Try to drop into stillness with your breath in this moment. Try to allow yourself to experience whatever you're experiencing in this moment. Letting the eyes float open. Let the hips fall to one side, bringing the legs out in front of you. And then you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. Let the heels be pretty far in front of you, so you're making a wide diamond shape. Let the knees fall open. And then round forward, bringing your forehead to the tops of the feet. This should feel nice, especially for the back after all of the back bending. And then check in here. Right, this is the exact opposite of where we just were in that really vulnerable heart opening. Now we are rounding in, checking in with the self, a little more protected, a little less vulnerable. Just observing how the two in juxtaposition feel within your body today. Sometimes we feel safe being a little more open and vulnerable and it feels good. Sometimes it feels better to sort of round in, to check in, to be a little more protective. We need both, right? It's important to find both within our lives. One last breath here in Tadasana. Slowly start to roll up to sit. You're going to draw the knees together. Make sure you have space behind you and then slowly start to come onto your back. Once you're all the way on your back, hug the knees into your chest. Allow the low back to release, let the shoulders release, and maybe you rock a little bit side to side. Maybe you circle the knees. If you're circling the knees, make sure you go in both directions. And then bringing the knees back into center. Let the knees fall to the left as you reach that right arm out to look over the right fingertips. Try to keep the knees belly button height or even a touch higher. One more breath here. Bring the knees back up through center. And then let the knees fall to the right. Reach that left arm out from the left shoulder, gazing over the left fingertips. Drop back into the breath. Bring the knees back up through center. Welcome to take a happy baby. If you would like to, grabbing the outer edges of the feet, the ankles or the shins. Welcome to start coming into Shavasana right now. If there's any last pose that you need, give yourself permission to move into that pose for several breaths. And allow yourself to drop into your final resting pose of Shavasana. Allowing the legs to be long, the feet flopped open as wide as the mat. Hands are by the sides, palms face up. Either closing the eyes or just very softly focusing at one point on the ceiling. As you drop into the stillness of Shavasana, allow the efforts of your practice to soak in. Remember that no effort, no matter how small or how large, is ever wasted. things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think that the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem. But the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart. And they come together again and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, room for relief, room for misery, room for joy. Letting there be room for not knowing is the most important thing of all. Let your next breath be a little bit deeper. Bring some gentle movements into your fingers and toes. Gently nod the head side to side. Bending the knees, sliding the feet onto the mat one at a time. Reach the arms long overhead if you have space to do so. And then gently roll to the right side into fetal position. Pressing into your top hand. Come back to your comfortable cross-legged seat, Sukhasana. Allowing yourself to find stillness with the eyes closed when you arrive. Joining the palms in prayer at the heart center. Lightly lifting the heart up toward the thumb. Sealing practice with one Om together. The best within me bows to the best within you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Have a beautiful day.